The city burned. The cries of the innocent echoed through the ruins of King's Landing. Daenerys Targaryen, the mother of dragons, lay lifeless in the arms of her most loyal companion. Drogon, consumed by grief, let out a roar that shook the very skies. But Drogon refused to let her story end in ashes. He carried her beyond the lands of men, to a place where legends are born and shadows walk among the living. With Daenerys' body draped over his back, Drogon flew for days, crossing vast oceans, snow-covered peaks, and endless deserts. His destination was unknown to all, but instinct guided him to a land whispered in ancient tales, the Shadowlands beyond Ass High. Here, under blood-red skies and jagged black mountains, Drogon landed at the gates of an ancient temple. The air was thick with magic, and from the shadows, a figure emerged, a shadowbinder cloaked in red and black, her face obscured by a glowing crimson mask. She approached the fallen queen, her voice low and foreboding. The blood of Valyria flows through her veins. Bring her inside. There may be a way. Inside the temple, Daenerys' body was placed upon an altar of obsidian, surrounded by glowing symbols etched into the stone. Valyrian glyphs of life and death. The Shadowbinder began the ritual, chanting words lost to time. A storm raged outside as streams of red and black light swirled around Daenerys. Drogon roared, flames erupting from his mouth, as if his very essence was being drawn into the ritual. Then, a gasp, Daenerys' eyes snapped open, glowing faintly red. She was alive, but she was not the same. Her dreams were filled with visions. The cries of the innocent haunted her. The faces of Jon Snow, Tyrion, and Missandei swirled in her mind. The fire that once drove her to conquer now burned with a different purpose. She whispered,
"I will not destroy, I will rebuild."
With the Shadowbinder's guidance, Daenerys and Drogon journeyed to the ruins of Valyria, the ancestral home of her bloodline. There, among the crumbling spires and shattered dragon statues, she found something unexpected: survivors. A hidden enclave of Valyrian descendants emerged, their faces filled with awe and reverence. They knelt before her, pledging their loyalty to the last Targaryen queen. They offered her knowledge of ancient magic, metallurgy, and dragon lore, secrets long thought lost. In the heart of Valyria, Daenerys found not only allies, but a new sense of purpose. She whispered to herself,
"Fire and blood will not destroy this time. They will heal."
Daenerys knew she could not reclaim her throne with Drogon alone. She began to rebuild her strength. Flying across the Dothraki Sea, she rallied the remaining Khalaisars, not as a conqueror, but as a leader. She promised them not plunder, but a future. They knelt, their rocks raised in loyalty. She freed enslaved soldiers from the fighting pits of Essos, offering them a choice: fight for a queen who would never chain them again. In the forges of Valyria, her new allies crafted weapons of obsidian and steel, their flames casting long shadows as her army grew. Dragons adorned their armor, a symbol of the legacy they would fight to restore. Spies brought Daenerys news from across the narrow sea. Westeros was fractured. Jon Snow had exiled himself beyond the wall, a man haunted by betrayal and loss. Sansa Stark ruled the north, her sharp mind forging alliances, but her heart hardened against any outsider. Tyrion Lannister, the hand of the king, struggled under the weight of his decisions, his nights filled with wine and regret. Daenerys saw an opportunity, not to conquer, but to bring a shattered realm to its knees and rebuild it stronger. She whispered,
"The Iron Throne was never the goal. The goal was a world that deserved it."
Standing atop Drogon, Daenerys gazed at a map of Westeros, her fingers tracing the borders. Strategic points were marked in blood-red ink: King's Landing, Winterfell, the Riverlands. Her spies whispered tales of unrest among the lords. Divisions were forming. Fear and hope spread like wildfire as rumors of her survival reached the shores of Westeros. Daenerys looked to the horizon, her voice steady. "We will not return as conquerors, but as a force of change. Fire and blood will no longer destroy, they will rebuild. Drogon let out a deafening roar as the sun set behind them, his shadow stretching across the ruins of Valyria. The queen was ready to rise once more. And so, the Dragon Queen's story begins anew. But what happens when Daenerys returns to Westeros? Will the realm welcome her or burn once more? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for part 2 of The Dragon's Legacy. The journey has only just begun.